Welcome to the B2B Breakthrough Podcast. I'm your host, Sierra Cristo. We've talked a lot on this podcast about finding and vetting suppliers, but to really dig into how to negotiate appropriately to get the right terms, what are you needing to do as a founder? What mindset shifts do you need to make to get in the right space and have the right conversation with the right people?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm doing some training on this with Alibaba. But I think asking the right questions, presenting yourself in the correct way, and approaching it to try and create a win-win situation. Too many people go into a negotiation trying to win that negotiation. When it comes to business, particularly this type of business, you can't win. If one person wins, the other person loses. We have to find a situation and stop trying to tackle each other and fight each other, but put the problem on the other side of the table, sit on the same side of the negotiating table and figure out how we solve the problem together. So it's a big mindset shift when people come with me to China and say, "Oh, I want to beat them." It's not beating them; it's joining them and beating the problem together, I suppose.
So what are some of those signals that you're looking for to tell that you're talking to the right person in the first place, to know that this is someone who I want to sit on the same side of the table with, to have this conversation? Just like those early green flags, what do they look like to begin that negotiation?
One of my favorite questions to ask, or a couple of questions. One of them is, how many workers do you have? It's a telltale sign of how big the company is. And at this point, I'm gathering information. It's not necessarily a right answer or a wrong answer on whether they're a big or a small company. But if they've got 50 workers, perhaps they're a bit smaller. If they've got 1,000 workers, they're bigger. Now, that can work in your favor either way. But what I'm doing is gathering information to see what might work for me. And if the main thing for me, which typically it is for expediting the growth of your business, is cash flow, and it's better payment terms, then somebody who's got a smaller company might not have the cash flow themselves to be able to support you. They might want to, and I've never really had anybody that doesn't want to support, but in some cases people can't, right? Because of the size of their business. That isn't always the case though. It might be that because they're smaller, they're more willing to help you because you're going to be quite a big company, quite a big client, and you're going to grow together. And when you talk to a bigger company, maybe they'll say, well, why would we give you the terms when we don't give that to some of our bigger customers? Or they might believe in you. So it's all about asking the right questions and finding out that information. And then another question I like to ask pretty quickly, which helps me engage them, whether it's on Alibaba when you're finding a supplier and in writing, or whether it's in person if you've met them. I like to ask, can I visit the factory? Right? And whether I'm planning immediately to visit the factory, but I always want to lock that one in. And it's a red flag if someone says to me, "Oh, no, not really, it wouldn't be suitable." And I'm like, why? Is that because you're not necessarily the factory? Is it because you're a trading company? Which there isn't an issue with trading companies, but if they're not willing to be open and transparent, that's a red flag. But normally what it does is send an indication that you're a serious buyer. You're not going to go into business with them without visiting the factory. And in culture around the world and all the different places we source from, but in particular China, it's a really important part of the process of meeting face to face, breaking bread and sharing a dinner together or drinks and building that relationship. So letting them know early doors you want to visit the factory engages them in conversation with you, because they automatically hold you in higher regard that you're a serious buyer.